Annyeonghaseyo friends, and welcome back to the Torsie channel for more IU, and a very happy Friday day to you. I hope it has been a sensational week full of a lot of IU, because that's what we do, right? Now that I have done my own breakdown video of IU's music video for BBIBBI, it is time to watch somebody else's interpretation of it, which is DKDK TV. This has been recommended to me by a lot of people. I of course watched their 8 explanation, which was sensational, so I'm really excited to see this. I've been told that it's quite a different interpretation from my own, which is awesome. That's what art is all about, so I'm really keen to hear what they have come up with. Over on Patreon today, we are handling our Hotel de Luna withdrawal symptoms by watching IU TV Hotel de Luna behind the scenes, because yes, as it would suggest by withdrawal symptoms, we've finished Hotel de Luna. However, we have started My Mister. So my dear friends, if you would like to join in on the My Mister watch party every week, pop on over to Patreon. The link is in the description. Of course, we also have the podcast over on Patreon where we do going further conversations about IU and a lot of lyric analysis. Lots of things, really. Just so very many things. So pop on over anytime. But as for today, let's get into DKDK TV's explanation of BBIBBI. Let's go. Gotcha. Such an addictive song.
So IU has come back with their new single BBIBBI, and the title of the song represents the sound of a whistle or a warning. So you might have to expect something different from what she did in the past. In the first verse, you can see that IU is tired of all the fuss, the excuses, the introductions people make when they see her or try to talk to her. The animal portraits hanging on the wall represent people who are watching her with their masks on. Also, we can see that IU wants her own privacy and her own space. But even when it seems like she does, she somehow seems trapped. And next, IU points out that nothing has changed to her internally or initially, but she wonders what all the gossip going around about her is about. So you can see a pile of newspapers that symbolize this gossip. Also, if you look close, the newspapers have the colors yellow and red. This can be seen as criticism towards yellow journalism and the headlines that always tend to be offensive and sensational. Trapped in her own space with clothes trying to disguise, she's looking into binoculars watching out for people that might be scanning her. Plus, the yellow cloths that are hung everywhere are a warning towards people as a yellow card. The darts flying towards her are judgmental comments and how people grade her. Thus, you can see the situation looks pretty dangerous where all the darts could actually hurt her. This verse is dedicated to the nosy public. The lyrics are all actual comments that say stuff about her on the internet, which are all false accusations and judgmental comments at the end. Now, IU becomes a soccer referee. The beep sound and her dance is how soccer referees blow the whistle and give a yellow card to a player who has done wrong or dangerous behavior. Now the main theme becomes lines. So basically, IU is warning people not to cross over the lines. And you can see she's behind mics, in her frame, and a TV is placed on the line, which is a message from IU saying that IU as a public figure or a celebrity is all you get to see, so don't judge what my personal life is like or anything else. I don't care, not my business. Now she's basically saying that she doesn't care about your secrets or situations because it's not her business. Deriving from the numerous phones on the ground, obviously she gets many personal advice, worries, DMs, etc. from all kinds of people, but she doesn't have the time to listen to everyone and she simply doesn't care.
Still me, 너의 오늘 날까 없이 I'm sure you're gonna say my gosh 바빠지는 눈빛 checking 매일 틀린 그림 찾기 hashtag
The lyrics in this verse say, you guys are gonna say, oh my gosh to me, but you gotta remember that it's still me. The MV shows her lying down on the ground very casually, maybe not the typical idol behavior. And the TV has also moved to the backside of her, which would mean that every action or appearance she has behind the TV or media is still her and there's nothing to be shocked about. Also, the public seems to be immune from sunlight, spotlight, and attention with their black umbrellas. But as the spinning of the umbrella gets faster, underneath you can see that they are very talkative. This scene symbolizes the public hiding behind anonymity and chatting about her just because she stands out and has a different color.
Nice pickup.
These lyrics are also the voice of the public criticizing her for various reasons. But when IU steps in their space or try to deal with the gossips, people show their hostility and yellow cards. Now she's exhausted of drawing all those lines herself and listening to what people say. You can see that there's only limited space left for her to stand. Finally, IU has escalated herself to code red. Now she somewhat seems merciless and expressionless. She no longer chooses to have patience or manners with the public by dropping the honorific form. And she also says that, I bet you guys still don't get the message. 깜빡이 켜고 들어와라 means turn on your turn signal first before you come in. It's usually meant to describe ill-mannered people who say offensive stuff abruptly. And then yellow airplanes fly around and she says that she's had enough. Block, 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 block. I also get a lot of these airplanes on Instagram with people saying personal stuff and irrelevant stuff and maybe some stuff you can't even imagine. And I guess IU has like 500 times more followers than me.
Yellow CARD 의선 넘으면 침범이야 babe 매너는 여기까지 is my please skip the la.
Although this song seems like a badass song IU is throwing to her haters or the stupid public that doesn't know how to shut up or keeps on gossiping about her personal life, the ending itself is kind of sad. Because if you look close, she's hesitating to go inside her private space behind the frame. Eventually she goes in, but it seems like she's escaping and running away from something to hide. Plus, at the end, maybe it's too late because IU has already turned into a red card. Watching and listening to this MV, I would say that IU has either permanently got scarred by various incidents, or she's warning people and giving them a last chance. Anyways, the lesson is, I feel like people really need to acknowledge the fact that idols and public figures are also human too, and they need to try to respect their public life and space.
That's really interesting. It's not too different to what I was saying necessarily. I mean, a couple of different interpretations there, particularly about the color yellow. Obviously, that is the main theme of the song. So DK TV's interpretation is that the yellow line is everyone's inappropriate actions, but the coloring in of the yellow spaces and things like that was IU being fenced in by the inappropriate behavior. While I read the color yellow, this is of the beginning of her personal space. And that when she is coloring something yellow or moving into a yellow space, it is creating her space that you are not to cross over into. And when we had the yellow umbrellas where everybody else got a yellow umbrella and then hers was shut, I was saying everybody else has the freedom to have personal space and she doesn't. We're in alignment with a lot of things really, like the red costume, she becomes the red card and it's a hard stopping zone. There were a couple of things in there that were really very different. The interpretation of the phones was quite different. I took that to mean that she does unto others as she would have do unto herself. She doesn't pry into other people's business, so she would like other people to stop prying into hers. It's like someone's offering her gossip and she's saying, no, thank you, not my business, not answering that red phone. That's a hard stop for her. So that was fairly different. And as well, the different interpretation of the animals on the walls in the green room at the beginning, which is a really cool interpretation, sort of that it's people watching with their masks on. That was close to my initial thought of that, where I felt that, you know, there was something kind of sinister about that because it's quite off-putting to have sort of human form with animal heads. I totally see how that is an interpretation. And it was only when I started looking up the symbolism of the particular animals that were on the wall that it changed my mind. And the reason why I changed my mind is all of those animals have really positive connotations to them, and it's in this green room that should be good space, safe space, whichever. However, I did also say in my breakdown that she was leaving the green room because it had become an unsafe space, which was being shown through her front door being yellow. And every time she was in the hallway of what was clearly her apartment building, which was all that peach colour, and her front door was yellow, she looked really uncertain and she was looking around herself a lot. So I took that to mean that that green space that had once been a safe space had been violated, and so she was packing up and moving and ended up in a yellow space. So DK TV's interpretation of that does actually work as a mesh of my interpretation of that, where I took it to mean that space had been violated. And maybe that is because those pictures on the wall that are the people watching behind their masks are the people that have violated it. So actually those two things can meet each other in the middle there. The yellow media on the newspaper is a hell of a pickup. That's really interesting because, of course, I took the colour symbolism through the music video. If you watched my video of it, you'll know that I identified yellow as I use personal space, and red is when someone has absolutely crossed the line. So the red and the yellow on the newspapers is rumour and supposition and annoying articles written in all these newspapers. The portrayal of Asians the world over in the media. That is one hell of an insight, and I really appreciate DK TV saying that. The same thing goes with the black umbrellas. So I took the black umbrellas to mean a general crowd of nameless, faceless people that kind of all have their own space and everything, and she's got her little yellow umbrella to try and take her personal space with her everywhere. That pickup of the spinning, like the chatter is getting faster and faster and the conversation is becoming more prolific, is awesome. That's such a cool interpretation. I really enjoy that. It's a bit of a half-half. We're not wildly off each other, and then there are some things that are completely different. But this is, I've forgotten who I was saying this to, sorry, but you know you're dealing with an artist and with real art when people have differing interpretations of them. That is the cool thing about art. People's own lives and own experiences will inform their interpretation. So no two people will ever see something the exact same way because no two people have lived the exact same life. It's a testament to IU and her reach as an artist and her ability to inject symbolism into everything that she does, that we can all have a different interpretation of what she's doing. And as always, and I will say this a million times when it comes to interpretations, there is almost never an example of an interpretation being wrong. Walk around in an art gallery and ask your friend what they think of the same painting that you're looking at and just listen to it. That's the best thing about art, and that's what IU gives us as an artist. That was really interesting. Thank you, DK TV, and thank you everybody for recommending that. Thank you so much for joining me for another Frei Day. 감사합니다. 사랑해요, and I will see you soon for more. 안녕!